about me? You know what I like to talk about? Me. Last week, back on track. 3-2. Great day betting games. Week number 3 in the National Football League on the board of spreads presented by the king of sportsbooks, BetMGM. But all you people want to talk about, all anyone wants to tweet me, you can tweet me on Twitter or whatever Elon's calling it today, X, I don't know, at the Kostos. All anyone wants to tweet me is, hey, great picks last week with the Denver Broncos and the Washington Commanders. And look, those were my 2 losses. Absolutely brutal. Combined final score 107-23. Who's keeping track? But let me ask you this. How would you rather lose a bet? 70-20? Or would you rather have bet the Minnesota Vikings against the LA Chargers and had your heart ripped out of your chest and shown to you like you're a character in Mortal Kombat as Kirk Cousins throws an interception in the end zone as the game ends? What would you rather have? Also, I won. There's no pleasing you people. But I'm going to try and do that this week and go 5-0 with week number 4 here. The Board of Spreads presented by BetMGM. Oh, baby, Board of Spreads. Let's get the good times rolling. Let's keep the winning going in week number 4 in the National Football League. And as always, we will start with the games that I really don't have a lot of interest in betting. And we will start on Thursday Night Football. We'll go sequentially here. Thursday night game. It's the first game of the week. We got the Detroit Lions, a 1.5-point road favorite at the frozen tundra. It's been raining on the East Coast. I don't know if it's frozen there, but like the frozen tundra of Lambeau Field. Lions a 1.5-point road favorite, total 45.5. Now, if Christian Watson and Aaron Jones, maybe by the time you're watching this, you will know if Watson is going to play, make his season debut. You will know if Aaron Jones is going to play for the first time since he dominated the Bears week 1 on the road at Soldier Field. And if both of those guys play, I think the Packers need to be favorites in this game. So Green Bay at any underdog price, if Christian Watson plays and if Aaron Jones plays, that feels like a badass bet to me. You know why? Because I love love. Give me love over Restore the Roar. Packers over the Lions. But again, you need Watson and you need Jones and you need an underdog price on the Green Bay Packers to start off week number 4 on Thursday Night Football. The next game that I have no interest in betting, at least right now, is going to be the Los Angeles Rams and the Indianapolis Colts. Let me tell you something. I had the Rams in a variety of ways on Monday night. We talked about it last week in the Board of Spreads presented by BetMGM against Joe Burrow and the Bengals. Coming down to it, basically final play of the game. 3rd and 5, down by the goal line. Need a touchdown to push +3. I can't believe they actually scored. You, watching this right now, I know that you bet. You've probably been betting for some amount of time. Do you think that Matthew Stafford was going to throw a touchdown on that play? Hell no, because we've been through the ringer. Somehow this one worked though. So I'm kind of in favor of the LA Rams right now. Now, we don't know who's starting at quarterback for the Colts yet on Sunday. As of this recording, Anthony Richardson has not yet cleared concussion protocol. Maybe if Anthony Richardson clears protocol, this number ticks up a little bit towards 3. Either way, I think the Rams are the better team. Give me Matthew Stafford, Sean McVay, and the Rams to go on the road in Indianapolis and take down the Colts. But again, not one of the bets that I love coming up for week number 4. Another game that I don't love this week will be in the NFC East with the Philadelphia Eagles, 8.5-point home favorites against the Washington Commanders. Man, Washington, bad bet by me last week. You know what? If I had won money on the game, I would have bought Sam Howell an appointment at the optometrist to get this dude's eye checked. Are we sure this guy's not colorblind? Like, you're throwing it, like, literally directly to members of the other team, Sam. Like, can we not do that? Can you not lose 37-3, Sam Howell? I had questions about the Eagles going into Monday night against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Are these coordinators absolutely terrible? Because Steichen and Gannon look like they're amazing head coaches right now in Indy and Arizona, respectively. And I think the Eagles answered some of those questions. They leaned on a bad Tampa Bay team. Now, Washington's better than Tampa, but can the Eagles lean on Washington? I think they can. But will they? Not 100% sure. I would look to target the Eagles in a teaser, teasing Philly down. It's got to be below 3. Right now, you can tease Philly down to -2.5. That would be my look for the Eagles and the Commanders. We're the city of brotherly love, right? I was going to say the city that never sleeps. That's wrong. The next game that I have no interest in betting. Let's go to, I like a lot of games this week. All right, it'll be Monday Night Football with my New York Football Giants hosting the Seattle Seahawks. Maybe this is the game that the Giants offense breaks out. And we have seen, for what it's worth, the total has been bet up from 45 all the way up to 47. I think that's the correct move. I definitely think the Giants can score on Seattle. Now Wan'Dale Robinson playing the slot. Forget Paris. Get him the hell out of the lineup. We need Jalen Hyatt playing more with the New York Football Giants. And this offense can do something as we approach the midpoint of the season. But the Giants being favored against Seattle, like that point spread's kind of insane, right? I make my projected numbers. Not that I have to be right. I think Seattle's got to be favored in this game. Now, maybe the Giants get Thomas back. Maybe they get Bredesen back. I doubt Saquon's going to play in the game. That's like one of the great lies that anyone's ever told. Saquon Barkley's going to play last Thursday night. With a high ankle sprain, really, Brian Dable, that's going to happen. So right now, no bet for me on this game. Unfortunately, as a Giants fan, it brings me no pleasure to say I actually kind of like the Seahawks a little bit at any underdog price and would only look towards the over on Monday Night Football. Giants and the Seahawks and yet another Geno Smith revenge game. Okay, now we'll go to the games that I like but don't love. And we'll start across the pond, jolly old London, England, where we have the London Jaguars, aka the Jacksonville Jaguars, hosting the Atlanta Falcons. Jacksonville is only a 3-point favorite in this game, and I get it. Their offense has been terrible. Press Taylor, Zach's brother, is the offensive coordinator. There are rumors that Doug Peterson actually called the plays in the second half of their loss against Houston, and guess what? Jaguars' offense looked better. I think it's only a matter of time before Trevor Lawrence gets his ass into the kitchen and starts cooking, and I think it happens with some bangers and mash. That's what they eat in London, right? Coming up on Sunday in London against the Atlanta Falcons. The Jaguars laying in the 3, and 43.5 is the total. This Jaguars offense plays even reasonably well. We go over the total. Jaguars defense is bad. Trevor Lawrence, big game, over the total, and the Jaguars laying the 3 on Sunday in London. All right, let's go to the AFC North, where the Baltimore Ravens injury report. This thing's huge. They're a veritable mash unit right now. Lose at home last week to the Indianapolis Colts. The Browns look amazing last week. We bet on them. That was a winner for us. Deshaun Watson, his best game since he was in Houston. Watson played awesome last week against the Tennessee Titans. Cleveland should be favored in this game. Browns currently a 2.5-point home favorite. And we need to see this Ravens injury report and what it looks like. But for me, 2 teams playing in the AFC North. Comparable team quality. I do think Cleveland right now is a little better than Baltimore, but if you're going to get 3 with the Baltimore Ravens, Ravens plus 3 is the bet that we're going to be targeting Sunday. Ravens at the dog pound, woof woof, against the Cleveland Browns. Next up, oh man. People like to talk about, economy's not great, inflation. How are we gonna get rich quick? The answer, and hindsight's 20/20, was to bet against this shitbag team. We'll bleep that, right? We'll bleep that. Bet against this bleep bag team, your Chicago Bears. I tried to tell you in week 1, we love, we hate Fields. Maybe you listened, maybe you didn't. We tried to tell you in week 2, Baker Mayfield and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers fire the cannons against Matt Eberflus and the Chicago Bears. And damn it, I tried to tell you last week with the Kansas City Chiefs. 12.5? How's 41-0 at one point in that game? Taylor Swift going nuts, got a low point for the show. I don't even think that's a low point. I don't think we've scratched rock bottom for the 2023 Chicago Bears. This is insane. Think about this. Denver allowed 70 points last week. 70. They got bet aggressively in this game against Chicago. What does that mean? It means that this is the worst team in football, the Chicago Bears. If you want to bet on Chicago, do yourself a favor. Save yourself the 3 hours of torment and flush the money down the toilet. You'll lose the same amount of money and it'll be a lot quicker and you won't have to deal with the heartache and the stress. If this number goes back down to 3, you know what to do. Fade this terrible embarrassment of a football team, the Chicago Bears, and lay it with the Denver Broncos. All right, next game I like but don't love is the Miami Dolphins and the Buffalo Bills. Let's be real. It's one of the best games of the season. It's the best game coming up in week number 4. 2 of the best teams in football. Miami looks like legitimate Super Bowl contender. Buffalo's really good as well. Now, 2.5 I think is probably the right spread of the game. Buffalo all the way up to the edge of 3, but not quite there. We have hit 3 already at points this week, and bettors say no. We like the Miami Dolphins. Goes back down to 2.5. How do I want to bet this game? A, I want to make sure Jalen Waddle's playing for the Miami Dolphins this Sunday's game with a concussion. Also, they scored 70 points. B, I want to take 3 with the Miami Dolphins, but it has to be 3. Give me the Dolphins plus 3. I know Josh Allen has been the Dolphin killer. I think this Dolphins team is different. I think this Dolphins team is special. I think the Dolphins coaches are better. I think the Dolphins players are better. Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins, number 1. I will edit the lyrics to say Miami Dolphins plus 3 against the Buffalo Bills coming up on Sunday. Oh, baby, Raiders and the Chargers. How about Josh McDaniels with that face looking like he's a squirrel snoring nuts for the winter, sending out the field goal unit, down by 8 with 3 minutes to play on Sunday night? What the hell is this guy doing? Answer, being a terrible head coach. It's amazing how many guys Tom Brady has gotten rich over the years. Josh McDaniels has to be number 1 on the list. Now, we don't know if Jimmy Garoppolo is going to play. And if he doesn't, this is how dumb the Raiders are. They have a high upside rookie in Aiden O'Connell from Purdue. Maybe he's good, maybe he's bad. You know what we know? Brian Hoyer is bad. And it looks like Hoyer would start if Garoppolo can. And if that's the case, this number needs to be at least 6 for my king, Brandon Staley. Back in my good graces after the Chargers cover last week against the Vikings, and he brilliantly went forward on 4th and 1 from his own 24, 1 1 yard wins the game. And if you're one of these people criticizing our king Brandon Staley for making that decision, remind yourself, hey dude, it ain't 1988 anymore. It's 2023. You don't punt and trust your defense. That's not how the National Football League works. Get a fucking clue. Chargers anything under 6 against the Las Vegas Raiders, if in fact it is Brian Hoyer starting at quarterback. Okay, we'll go to the NFC South, where the New Orleans Saints, 3.5-point home favorites against Baker Mayfield and the Buccaneers. Revenge game for Jameis Winston with Derek Carr unlikely to play in the game. New Orleans, good pass rush. What does Baker Mayfield do against good pass rushes? Answer, throw interceptions. We see it happen all the time. Saints have the good pass rush. I think they'll force Baker to make mistakes. Jameis does enough. Revenge game against his former team. Saints -3 is what I'm looking for. Saints or nothing on Sunday against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That's 6. Okay, last one that I like but don't love is Arizona and San Francisco. How about the Arizona Cardinals? Calamity Gannon. He had the Triforce last week. Made it happen against the Golden Arrows. Made it happen against the Dallas Cowboys. What a performance by Josh Dobbs in Arizona. We give them a lot of credit. Great job by them. They might not be the worst team in football. Maybe they're playing well enough that they're going to take themselves out of the Caleb Williams sweepstakes, and Kyler Murray's just going to be the quarterback when he comes back and next season. Next sentence. They're going to get railroaded by San Francisco this weekend because the Niners, unlike the Cowboys, are not going to let that happen to them. Well-coached team with Kyle Shanahan. Niners are going to lay it on Arizona. This number will close north of 14, so if you like the Niners, bet them now against Calamity Gannon and the Arizona Cardinals. And that takes us to the 5 games that I like the most coming up this week, week number 4 in the National Football League. We will start in Carolina. The tape can be troublesome. Okay. The Minnesota Vikings are favored by more than a field goal against blank NFL team not named the Chicago Bears. So this is going to be the trick. When I remove my hand from this piece of paper, if the team name is not Chicago, you will bet on that team against the Minnesota Vikings laying more than a field goal. Ready? It's Carolina, it's not Chicago. So we're going to bet the Carolina Panthers. Maybe the Vikings win this game. The Vikings to win a game by margin. Have we seen this team play? All they do is play one-possession games, and this year they're losing all of them because last year they won 11-0. Now, if it's Andy Dalton, I like Carolina, but even if it's Bryce Young and Bryce Young's back under center, maybe this line goes up and we get Carolina at a better price. Carolina +3 or better. Best bet number 1. Literally, we're betting against Kirk Cousins and Kevin O'Connell and the Vikings to win a game by margin. That feels like a pretty good bet. Again, as long as the team is not Chicago. It's not. It's Carolina. Panthers, best bet number 1 coming up on Sunday. Oh, man. One of the great discounts of all time. You know, everyone wants to talk about Black Friday. You go on Black Friday. I would never go. I don't want to rub elbows with the common people, with you, with the absolute mutants and savages that are elbowing each other, trying to get to the 52-inch Samsung television on discount. What is wrong with you people? But I will say, I'll fight with my fellow bettors for a piece of Joey Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals. Cincinnati, 2.5-point road favorite against the horrendous Tennessee Titans. This is, with apologies to Black Friday, this is the discount of the year to bet on Cincinnati, where Joe Burrow could be hobbling around like Hodor. That's what we saw on Monday night, and it's not going to make a difference. All he's got to do is stand in the pocket and throw the ball to Jamar Chase, to T. Higgins. This Tennessee secondary can't cover these guys. This is the discount, the buy of the century. Now, Joe Burrow gets hurt, we lose. That's the risk you take. I'm willing to take it and bet on Joe Burrow and the Bengals like less than a field goal on the road to Tennessee. Easy. Cincinnati -2.5 against Tennessee. Here's a point spread that doesn't make much sense. Can't wait to find out how I'm wrong on Sunday. Here's a hot take for everyone after 3 weeks. I think the Steelers are good. Week 1, they got thumped by the 49ers. Niners might be the best team in the league. Okay, game got away from them a little bit. Week 2, they beat the Cleveland Browns. The Browns are really good. And then week 3 went on the road and took down a Raiders team that is not like absolutely horrendous, and were never really in any real danger of losing that game. The Steelers are good. Now, the Texans are also better than we thought they would be. How good is C.J. Stroud? How good is Tank Dell? I'm rolling the tank into all my fantasy lineups. Tank Dell's been absolutely unbelievable. So, I like C.J. Stroud, and I like D'Amico Ryans, and I like Tank Dell, and I like the direction of this Texans franchise. But also, Steelers -3 on the road. Don't we think that number's just a teensy bit short? I do. I laid the 3. Give me Kenny Pickett, Mike Tomlin, and the Steelers laying 3 on the road in Houston. Here's a bet guaranteed to make you want to punch yourself in the face on Sunday. We're going to take the 7 with the New England Patriots on the road at Dallas. Now, coming into the year, we thought the profile of the Patriots was this. They can smash teams that they have a similar talent level to or more talented than, but when they step up in competition against the elites, they get their lunch handed to them. But so far this season in New England, week 1 at home against Philadelphia, they don't cover the spread, but barely lose the game, only lose that game by 5. They're in it until the very end. Week 2 against Miami also don't cover the spread, but they are in that game until the very end. They don't get embarrassed, and then we'll talk about Zach Wilson in a second here. I think the profile of this Patriots team is to not get embarrassed by the elite teams. And Dallas embarrassed itself last week against the Arizona Cardinals. The number is 7. That is a great number to bet the New England Patriots here. Worst comes to worst, they're down in the game. Mac Jones will just go out and smack everybody in the nuts, and the Patriots will find a way to cover the spread. New England +7 on the road in Dallas, best bet number 4. And honestly, it's getting kind of sad at this point. I feel like Zach Wilson's probably a really nice guy. He seems like a nice young man, like a good kid. Also, can we just put this kid out of his misery? Bench him, cut him. Enough with this already. This poor kid's going through the ringer. Everyone hates his guts. I actually feel kind of bad for him. Also, I love to profit off of him being terrible. Kansas City is favored by less than 10 against Zach Wilson. This is the best defense Patrick Mahomes has had in Kansas City. How are the Jets scoring? Do you think Kansas City is going to score? The answer to the first question, they're not. The answer to the second question, yes. Now maybe Robert Saleh announces Trevor Siemian's going to start, which would actually, it's any one of us in this room right now could start for the Jets, and I would consider betting the Jets, and they'd get the 1-game bump. If it's Zach Wilson, and it looks like it's going to be, and the number is less than 10, you have to do yourself a favor. It doesn't mean the bet's going to win. Nothing's a lock. But if you have any self-respect, if you love your family, do yourself a favor. Bet against Zach Wilson. Lay the 9.5 with the best team in football, the Kansas City Chiefs. And those are your best bets for week number 4 in the National Football League. The board of spreads presented by the king of sportsbooks, the great people at BetMGM.